This is a Fox News alert. The Patriots Promise Foundation is currently being raided by federal agents on West Kennedy Boulevard in Tampa. We are seeing a 61-year-old man in handcuffs now.
10
This is a Fox.
p.m. April 29th, 2026. Tampa, Florida. The black Suburbans roll into the parking lot of a glass and steel office tower on West Kennedy Boulevard. 23 federal agents step out in coordinated silence. Their windbreakers read FBI in 3-inch yellow letters. Their badges hang on lanyards. Their weapons stay holstered, but their hands stay close. On the 14th floor, behind a frosted glass door etched with the words Patriots Promise Foundation, a man named Gregory Hatchwell is finishing a phone call with a donor. In Phoenix. He is 61 years old. He wears a navy blazer with an American flag pin. On his desk sits a framed photograph of him standing beside 3 wounded veterans at a charity gala in 2023. He does not yet know that the call he just took was recorded. He does not yet know that his accountant flipped 6 weeks ago. He does not yet know that the woman he believes to be a major donor from Arizona is, in fact, Special Agent Marcia Linden of the FBI's Tampa field office. He will know all of these things within the next 4 minutes. This is the story of how the largest veterans charity fraud in American history collapsed in a single evening. It is also the story of how it was allowed to grow for nearly a decade. $140 million. 15 states. 47,000 donors. 0 veterans helped. Stay with me. Because what the FBI found in that office in 3 storage units across 2 states and on the encrypted servers of a shell company registered in Delaware will change how you think about every charity solicitation you have ever received. The raid was not supposed to be a raid at first. In late February of 2026, agents from the FBI's Public Corruption and Civil Rights section had opened what they classified as a routine financial review. The trigger was unremarkable. A retired Marine Staff Sergeant in Bakersfield, California, had filed a complaint with his state's attorney general after donating $1,800 to Patriots Promise Foundation over 14 months and receiving, in return, 3 glossy newsletters and a request for more. His complaint cited a specific concern. He had asked the foundation, in writing, for the name of one veteran his money had assisted. He received, in writing, a name. He looked the name up. The veteran had died in 2009. That single discrepancy, flagged by a state-level auditor and forwarded to the FBI's Tampa office on March 2, became the thread that pulled the entire operation apart. Special Agent in charge Daniel Reyes assigned a 4-person team. Within 72 hours, they had pulled Patriots Promise Foundation's heirs form 990 filings for the previous 7 years. The numbers were, on their surface, plausible. Total revenue reported in fiscal year 2024, $31 million. Program expenses claimed, $26 million. Administrative overhead, under 15%. It looked clean. It was not clean. What the team discovered, through subpoenas issued to 4 banks across 3 states, was a pattern of internal transfers so dense that the foundation's audited statements could only be described as fiction. Donor funds entering through a primary operating account at a Tampa branch of a regional bank were being routed, within 48 hours of receipt, through a chain of 7 shell entities. Each shell was registered to a different limited liability company. Each LLC listed a different registered agent. Each agent operated from the same mail forwarding service in Wilmington, Delaware. The destination, in nearly every case, was the personal accounts of Gregory Hatchwell, his wife Caroline Hatchwell, and 3 senior officers of the foundation: Chief Operating Officer Bradley Krenn, Chief Financial Officer Lisa Mendelson, and Director of Donor Relations Anthony Pelliter. Between January 2017 and March 2026, federal investigators would later document the 5 individuals diverted approximately $140 million in donor contributions for personal use. The expenditures were, in the words of U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida Vincent Caraballo, a catalog of insults to every American who has ever served. A waterfront mansion in Naples, Florida, $9.2 million. A second residence in Aspen, Colorado, $4.7 million. A 56-foot Sunseeker yacht docked in St. Petersburg, registered under the name Lady Liberty, $2.8 million. 2,700 bottles of wine in a climate-controlled cellar valued at $1.1 million. A 1962 Ferrari 250 GT, restored, garaged in a private facility in Sarasota, $3.4 million. These were the trophies. They were not the worst of it. By April 4, the FBI had upgraded the case from a financial review to an active investigation under the racketeering statutes. By April 11, a federal grand jury had been seated under seal. By April 18, the first cooperator had agreed to wear a wire. That cooperator was Lisa Mendelson, the chief financial officer. Mendelson, 48, had been with the foundation since its incorporation in 2016. She had personally signed off on hundreds of falsified expense reports. She had also, according to her attorney's statements during plea negotiations, been told by Hatchwell on 3 separate occasions that her continued silence was a matter of personal safety as much as legal exposure. Whether or not that threat was real, Mendelson took it seriously. She also took seriously the offer made to her by Assistant U.S. Attorney Kendra Vasquez on April 16, full cooperation in exchange for a recommendation of 7 years rather than the 35 she was facing. She wore the wire for 10 days. What she captured, in conversations recorded inside the Foundation's executive conference room, became the spine of the prosecution's case. On April 22, Hatchwell was recorded telling Kren that the Foundation's upcoming spring gala in Charleston should target the older widows because they don't ask follow-up questions and their kids don't pay attention until probate. On April 24, he was recorded discussing the purchase of a private aviation membership using funds drawn from a Children of Fallen Soldiers scholarship program that the indictment would later allege had never disbursed a single scholarship. 47,000 donors. 9 years. 0 scholarships awarded. 0 veterans housed. 0 medical bills paid. The charity had a website with photographs of veterans. Those photographs, federal investigators determined, had been purchased from a stock image service for $49 per image. The testimonials attributed to grateful service members on the Foundation's promotional materials were, in 14 out of 17 cases, fabricated. The remaining 3 were real veterans who had been paid $200 apiece to record video statements without being told what organization would use them. Now, The Office. 6:14 p.m. April 29, 2026. Special Agent Marcia Linden steps off the elevator on the 14th floor. 2 agents flank her. 6 more take the stairwell. The remaining team secures the parking garage and the loading dock. The receptionist, a young woman named Brittany Cole, who would later be cleared of any involvement, looks up from her computer. Linden shows her badge. She speaks 4 words. Federal warrant. Stand up. Brittany Cole stands up. In the corner office, Gregory Hatchwell hears the commotion. He rises from his desk. He walks to his door. He opens it. He sees 4 agents in tactical vests advancing down the hallway with a folded document in the lead agent's left hand. He does not run. He does not reach for a phone. He says, according to the agent's written reports, exactly 1 sentence. I would like to call my attorney. He is told he may do so after he is in federal custody. The arrest is bloodless. Hatchwell is walked out of the building in handcuffs at 6:31 p.m., past the receptionist's desk, past the framed photograph of him with the wounded veterans, past the etched glass. Door with the Foundation's name. A single photographer from the Tampa Bay Times, tipped off 30 minutes earlier under embargo, captures the moment. That photograph will appear on the front page of 17 newspapers within 12 hours. Caroline Hatchwell is arrested at the Naples residence at 6:33 p.m. by a separate team. Bradley Kren is taken at his home in St. Petersburg at 6:35 p.m. Anthony Pelliter, who had flown to Las Vegas the previous evening, is detained at the Bellagio at 9:47 p.m. Eastern by FBI agents working with local authorities. By midnight, all 4 primary defendants are in federal custody. By 8 a.m. the next morning, U.S. Attorney Caraballo is standing at a podium in downtown Tampa. This was not a charity, he tells the assembled reporters. This was a predatory enterprise dressed in the uniform of the very people it claimed to serve. The defendants did not steal from a faceless institution. They stole from the families of the dead. They stole from grandmothers writing $20 checks. They stole from the moral fabric of a country that asks its citizens to give and trusts them to give honestly. He pauses. We have recovered approximately $38 million in assets. We will pursue every remaining dollar. But let me be clear about what cannot be recovered. The trust of 47,000 donors, the opportunity cost of 9 years in which actual veterans needed help that did not arrive, the damage done to legitimate charities who now face suspicion they did not earn. How does an operation of this scale survive 9 years of audits, regulatory filings, and state-level oversight? The answer, federal investigators determined, is layered, and it implicates more than 5 individuals. Patriots Promise Foundation paid an outside auditing firm in Atlanta nearly $400,000 between 2019 and 2024. That firm, Holstead Drury and Associates, signed off on every annual statement. On April 30th, 2026, the day after the arrests, federal investigators served a separate warrant on Holstead Drury's offices. 2 senior partners are now under active investigation. Charges have not yet been filed against the firm, but a Department of Justice statement issued May 1 confirmed that the auditing relationship is a primary focus of ongoing inquiry. The foundation also retained a Washington, D.C. lobbying firm, Brennard Steele Government Affairs, at a cost of approximately $220,000 per year. That firm secured Hatchwell speaking slots at 3 Congressional Veterans Affairs roundtables between 2021 and 2024. Whether the firm knew the foundation was fraudulent remains under investigation. Brennard Steele has, through counsel, denied any knowledge of wrongdoing. And there is the matter of the celebrity endorsements. Patriots Promise Foundation featured, on its website and in its promotional materials, written endorsements from a retired 4-star general, a former cabinet secretary, and 2 well-known sports broadcasters. None of these individuals has been accused of wrongdoing. All 4 have, through public statements issued in the days following the arrests, said they were given fabricated documentation and had no operational visibility into the foundation's finances. Their endorsements, federal investigators believe, were used to manufacture credibility that the foundation's actual operations could not support. This is how a fraud of this magnitude survives. Not through a single act of deception, but through a structure in which every adjacent professional, every credentialing institution, and every regulatory checkpoint accepts surface plausibility as a substitute for substantive verification. The victims, in the cold accounting of the indictment, are reduced to a number: 47,000 donors, $140 million. The victims, in their own words, are something else. The Department of Justice has, as of this writing, received 1,193 impact statements from donors. They are being processed for inclusion in the sentencing phase, which is currently scheduled for early 2027. A sample, redacted to remove identifying details, appears in the publicly filed pretrial memorandum. A widow in Iowa, age 78, donated $4,200 over 6 years from her late husband's military pension survivor benefits. She wrote, "I gave because he would have wanted me to. I do not know how to tell him what happened." A small business owner in Ohio donated $11,000 and organized a corporate matching program at his company that raised an additional $34,000. He wrote, "My employees trusted me. I trusted the foundation. I have spent the last week apologizing to people who did nothing wrong." A college student in Oregon, the daughter of a soldier killed in 2011, donated $320. She wrote, "I don't have much. I gave what I had. I want it back not because I need it, but because I want to give it to a charity that is real. These are the people Gregory Hatchwell described in a recorded conversation as the older widows and the kids who don't pay attention. These are the people for whom the criminal justice system now exists, in this case, to deliver something resembling justice. The defendants face a combined 73 federal charges. The charges include wire fraud, mail fraud, money laundering, racketeering, conspiracy to defraud the United States, false statements on tax returns, and aggravated identity, theft for the misuse of deceased veterans' names in solicitation materials. If convicted on all counts, Gregory Hatchwell faces a maximum sentence of 240 years. Caroline Hatchwell faces 112 years. Kren and Pelliter each face approximately 140 years. Mendelson, under the terms of her cooperation agreement, will be sentenced separately and will serve no more than 7. None of them will serve their full statutory maximums. Federal sentencing guidelines, even applied at the upper range, will likely result in actual sentences between 15 and 35 years for the principal defendants. They are likely to die in federal prison. Whether that constitutes justice in proportion to 9 years of betrayal of 47,000 donors is a question the legal system is not designed to answer. So what should you do? If you are reading this and you have given to a veterans charity, or to any charity, in recent years, the federal government recommends 3 concrete steps. First, verify the organization through Charity Navigator, GuideStar, or your state's Attorney General Charity Registration Database before any future donation. Second, request specific outcome data, including names of programs funded and verifiable beneficiary outcomes, before giving more than a nominal amount. Third, report any charity that refuses to provide such information to your state's Consumer Protection Office. Patriots Promise Foundation refused to provide such information for 9 years. No regulator forced the question. 47,000 donors did not insist. $140 million went to wine cellars and yachts and a Ferrari sitting in a Sarasota garage. The arrests on April 29 closed one chapter. The next chapter, the one in which we collectively decide whether to demand more from the institutions we fund, is still being written. It will be written by you,